the Friendzone Saga. So here he was, on the MS Friendzone, the majestic flagship of the fleet. Shiny, glamorous, and sublime, it cut through the clouds in the dark night sky. Carl was impressed by the sight of the sky, the glittering clouds and all the stars. He had never seen anything more beautiful. A glistening sheet jumped past him and greeted him before disappearing below deck. This was now his new home. But what was that? A crying woman. Carl had to use his wisdom to deal with this case.
Good day. Why are you crying? Can I do something for you?
Oh, eight? Hello, Mr. Admiral. No, everything is fine.
The woman looked at him with sad eyes. He knew that absolutely nothing was wrong. People gathered around her, ready.
I can see that something is wrong. Come and share your feelings with us and we will all help you.
She thought about it, sobbing, but she could see in his eyes that he was right. He would be able to help her. The Admiral sat down next to her.
All right. So I've been banished to the friend zone by the love of my life. I've had hope for many years, but he spurned me for years.
She cried in torrents. But the Admiral knew exactly what was going on. This was a problem that often occurred. So he lit a fire of hope and asked everyone to join them.
Listen to me carefully, my dears. I'm going to tell you a story now.
Everyone sat down around the fire and listened intently. The Admiral took a deep breath, calmly stuffed his pipe and lit it.
The friend zone has been an omnipresent problem since the beginning of mankind. It is a bitter reality for many people and a blessing for some. But how can this be? How can there be such a contradiction? Some people never get to know them, some know nothing else. And what would you say, my dears, if I told you that the friend zone is like Schrodinger's cat? It is neither good nor bad until you give the friend zone a state in which you force a decision.
But how can that be, Admiral? The friend zone is inevitable for some. You can't prevent it, you can only accept it.
Yes and no, son. The friend zone is a self-chosen state, which means you can decide whether you want to enter the friend zone and how it is designed. But acceptance is often a conflict with this decision, as most people are not aware of what the rules of the decision are.
Does that mean I've put myself in the friend zone without realizing it?
Exactly. Most people are not aware of the nature of the friend zone. That's why I'll explain it to you in more detail now.
The Admiral pulled a pen out of his pocket and drew a sketch in the air. Everyone looks intently at the drawing in bright lettering.
The friend zone and relationship behave exactly like the entrepreneur and employee. While an entrepreneur takes high risks in an attempt to increase his wealth and success, an employee enjoys the benefits of shared responsibility for a specific area of work. The friend zone is therefore an undertaking to increase your success and wealth. For example, through learning effects, new experiences, and advantageous agreements. A relationship, on the other hand, tries to share responsibility in order to fulfill a purpose. For example, to raise children, to secure the family inheritance, or to provide for the parents. And there you already have the first problem, my dears. Many people want a relationship because they equate it with romantic love, but they completely disregard the purpose of the relationship and the sharing of responsibility. But my dears, romantic love can also exist in the friend zone. So do you already recognize your first mistake?
He looked around. People were listening intently. but no one could answer.
I will tell you. The first mistake is, you never have the purpose of the relationship in mind. Your purpose is always love and romance, but that is not a lasting drive for a relationship, because without a purpose there is no goal, and without a goal you run in circles. That's why so many relationships fall apart. The next mistake is to strive for a relationship just for the sake of physical needs or for ego or status reasons. This is also not a meaningful purpose and is therefore doomed to failure. You see, without a purpose you are in the friend zone. So let's move on to the friend zone. Many of you will now be thinking, why would you voluntarily want to enter the friend zone? A relationship is much better. I'm telling you, your ego or your idea of status is playing tricks on you here. A friend zone has many more advantages, as long as you are aware of its nature. If you understand what the friend zone really is, it can have a lot of advantages. A deep, honest friendship without the pressure of romantic expectations can be incredibly enriching. You have someone you can trust by your side, you can talk about everything and enjoy shared experiences without the emotional ups and downs of a relationship. You can also learn a lot about interpersonal dynamics and maybe even get support for future romances. Many people equate friend zone with a kind of devaluation, but it is actually a sign of appreciation. You mean enough to the other person to have a permanent place in their life. And that's pretty valuable, isn't it?
The Admiral picked up his pen again and drew a circle in the air. He outlined the friend zone in glowing lines.
The nature of the friend zone depends on supply and demand. A friend zone can be parasitic, symbiotic, protective, guarding, investing, helping, destructive, platonic, or healing. Everyone is familiar with friendship with benefits, which is a symbiotic friend zone in which the needs of the other person are met and having fun together is the only purpose. This can also be of a romantic nature or similar. The worst kind of friend zone is probably the parasitic one, as you enter into a relationship of dependency. Emotionally, economically, psychologically, or physically. This always happens when the other person knows that you are willing and able to do anything. Who wouldn't gratefully accept gifts? It's like corruption, once you get hold of it, you quickly get used to it. I despise it. It only serves to exert power and impose one's will on others until they are completely lost. The most misunderstood friend zone is the protective one. It is the most noble and yet the most painful at the same time. In this zone, your counterpart tries to protect you from yourself. This leads to you not being able to break the bond due to the protection and therefore suffering pain. Unfortunately, that is the case with you, my child. But believe me, there are good reasons for this that you don't want to know. The preserving friend zone is usually wrong and self-centered. Anyone who doesn't have the guts to leave the other person standing will find themselves here. The result is non-binding decisions and actions, no clear direction and blocking emotional states that no one can resolve. Beware of this. It stops you from going your own way. The investing friend zone is wrong and kind at the same time. You see potential in the other and invest time and energy to bring out the best. At the same time, however, you know exactly that it is only your project. You have to be careful here, draw the boundaries sharply and clearly, then you will grow together. The helping friend zone is a compassionate friend zone. You can recognize it by the fact that the other person always offers you help in order to satisfy their helper complex. However, it will not go a single meter further in it, even though someone may have hopes. This friend zone is a safe haven, but you must be aware that you are only a patient or caregiver in it. The destructive friend zone is the friend zone with the most chaos. Here everyone will try to destroy everything that could be of any use out of pure vindictiveness and the fun of destruction. Stay away from this friend zone and don't construct yourselves. It has already brought misery and suffering to many. The healing friend zone is the most selfless of all. Here, one person does everything they can to give the other person all the support they can unconditionally. However, there is a great danger of a parasitic friend zone developing here. The platonic friend zone is the most boring. It's where you can relax, study the daily newspaper and enjoy a coffee in the restaurant. My personal favorite, for great conversations and personal development. So you see, my dears, depending on the type and circumstances of life, the friend zone is always tailor-made for the giver and receiver. And now that you know that, the mechanics should have dawned on you.
He looked around again and looked people in the eye. Until someone raised their voice.
Are you saying I need to put him in the helping or healing friend zone so that his problem can heal, that he is trying to protect me from?
Exactly, my child. It's your decision which friend zone you answer with. But you should never cry for a relationship without a purpose in life, because most relationships are just hidden friend zones and have no purpose. They therefore inevitably fail because the goal never becomes visible. That, my friends, is also the reason why many are deeply unhappy. They are actually aiming for a deeply serious relationship with the purpose of procreating, but they try any friend zone beforehand. You start with a platonic friendship in the hope that something more will come of it. What a big mistake! Then they try another way, but again without success. So why not immediately ask and uncover the obvious motives?
I understand, Mr. Admiral. I disguised my motives and lured him onto the wrong track, even though his intentions were completely different. I just didn't realize it.
Exactly. But now you're all smarter and will know how to use the power of the friend zone.
The woman wiped the tears from her face and looked gratefully at the Admiral. The Admiral had opened her eyes. Something loosened inside her. It was a pity about the time she had spent trying to establish something romantic, to find true love, but now she realized that everything had its reason.
Thank you, Admiral. I think I'm just ready to break new ground. Thank you.
The Admiral nodded to her as he drew on his pipe. The woman slowly rose into the glittering starry sky and dissolved into stardust. A good sign, a soul had been set free. The Admiral looks around with satisfaction. The crowd whispered and discussed what had been said, but the Admiral took the opportunity to continue his walk. Satisfied with himself, he continued his walk to admire the rings of Saturn. Follow me for more adventures of Admiral Frienzone.